Hey guys, many of you will have seen this spreadsheet before if you have followed my channel and you've seen me do kind of like the talent videos. This is a complete talent guide for every single mini in the game. But what I have done is I have updated it for Season 2. And the updates that I have made include changing some of the recommended talents for some of the minis based on some essentially real-world experience and also talking to other players throughout Season 1. And I've also added, by request of someone on Reddit, PvP notes. Just some small PvP notes where either I'm agreeing with what I've already said in the notes, or I'm just saying that there are some cases where another talent is slightly better than the one that I've recommended in PvP. And so this entire talent spreadsheet can be used for you to just look through, make sure you're thinking about making that right choice. Because remember, of course, the first talent choice is very important. If you get a mini to uncommon and you choose the wrong talent, you have to wait until you get to rare to unlock a second one, and that can be very, very annoying. I know from personal experience. I picked Gnomish Mutternizer on my safe pilot as my first talent because I was an idiot, and then I had to get it to rare to get Gnomish Cloaking Device, and I still don't have Coming in Hot, which has suddenly become quite popular in PvP because I don't have my safe pilot at Epic, even though I am trying to get it towards that point. So you'll find a lot of notes, a lot of explanations for all of the different minis. I've also added in a discussion around Chimaera, which is the new unit, and I've talked a little bit about kind of like all of the different talents. Now, you know, I don't really know what the best talent for Chimaera is right now. We haven't had enough time to test. The consensus tends to be towards Leviathan at the moment, but that may change. If you are not wanting to pull the gun on a talent for your Chimaera right now, then just keep checking back. I will update this as soon as anything changes. But right now, it seems that Leviathan is the favored talent for most people. But there is probably a world where Frost Shock or Corrosive Breath have their uses. For instance, Corrosive Breath in PvE is probably better because Poison in PvE is very, very good. So the color coding, if you haven't seen this before, green means a good talent, so you can't really go wrong with buying it. Yellow means situational, and then purple, even though it used to be red, purple means I would avoid this talent. I would avoid purchasing it until like you have no other option. The reason I've got it in purple is because someone on Reddit requested this be friendly for colorblind people, and apparently this is a color scheme that is colorblind friendly. So if you are colorblind and you're finding this useful, please let me know in the description or in the comments. And if I still could make better changes to make this more readable for colorblind people, please also let me know. I don't know if there's any other accessibility things that I can do to make this more accessible for people. This is currently right now a live web page spreadsheet, but it will update as I make updates live on the main spreadsheet, which I'm not going to grant people access to. I do not want to grant access to the main spreadsheet. The reason being is I did that in Eve Echoes and people just messed up my spreadsheets. So you will have access to the live website or the live web page version of the spreadsheet, and it will update in real time as I make updates. I'll also link this in my Discord so that you guys can look at it. I might just take a moment to go through some of the changes. There's a bit of spiel. The boxes that you can't quite see on the screen are just kind of telling you some information about the sheets, also about my channel and my Discord. So my Discord link is on this sheet. The link to this sheet is also in the description below. Some of the big changes maybe that I should probably cover is Enchanted Vials on Batrider. I think after lots of testing with Batrider, the increased area of effect of the vials probably comes off most useful, especially in PvE. But in PvP, I quite like Fiery Surplus, so it really depends on and kind of your thoughts. Let's have a look. Anything else that has been a big change from the previous version? Goldmine is now obviously the Dark Iron Miner version. I've still got Picklocker's Defiance Bandits, but obviously I think all of the talents on Defiance Bandits are good. Right now I'd say that Deadly Poison is the best all-round talent because Arathi Basin doesn't have any chests, so Picklocker is a useless talent if there are no chests on the map. There is Overpower on Execute. I've changed that over just because I think the stun and the displacement is much more useful than the Bloodlust. You very rarely tend to use Execute on top of your own minis, and it's a very small surface area, so I think the Overpower is best. Also, I'm wondering whether you can use the Overpower knockoff to knock units off the map on Arathi Basin, and if that like one-shot kills them, that'd be really interesting. I've changed also... The big one is probably Necromancer. I've changed Necromancer to be now actually obviously favoring Jeweled Skulls, but also Breath of the Dying in PvP is being used quite a bit by a few top-level players. And actually, the talent that I thought was the best in the beta is now probably the least favored of the 3 talents on Necromancer. But what I will say is it doesn't matter. All of the talents on Necromancer are pretty good. And actually, Necromancer's not that meta for PvP right now. I actually really like Cult of the Damned for PvE because it's much more likely that you can play your Necromancer, build up a massive skeleton army, and not get safe piloted. The problem with Necromancer in PvP right now is that it just gets safe piloted and dies. So it's not the most favored unit in PvP right now. Marathon of the Murlocs kind of confirmed as the best for Old Murkai, even though the Electric Eels talent is still really good. The reason I like Marathon and the Murlocs more so than Electric Eels is because people have become wise to Old Murkai and tend to just play Blizzard on top of the base. So what you can do with Marathon and the Murlocs is play Old Murkai, then play a single mini to taunt the Blizzard, to proc the Blizzard, or get them to use the Blizzard, and then wait until the Blizzard ends, and then use the rest of your minis to generate a huge wave of Murlocs, and they don't have Blizzard to work with it. So I quite like that. Anything else that has kind of massively changed from the last time I did this? Coming in hot is now become a kind of a secondary good sort of talent for Safe Pilot. People are using that quite frequently. Flaming Soul, I now recommend for PvP on Baron. The reason I recommend Flaming Soul is because the map is quite choke point heavy, and so therefore Flaming Soul is much more likely to get a lot of value compared to previously. So I really like Flaming Soul on Ren Blackhand. If anything, I think it makes Ren Blackhand more viable than just running Scale and Steel. I don't actually really rate Scale and Steel that highly on this particular map. There is questing buddies on skeletons. That seems to be the go-to play. The reason being is that Exhume is not that good on Dragon Tower maps because obviously if you place a skeleton party near a Dragon Tower, they just get instantly one-shot. So Exhume is still a good talent, just not that in meta for the current PvP rotation, whereas questing buddies gives you a lot more use out of that small skeleton party, which is quite nice. Sneed's just terrible all round, and I actually say that on the PvP note. Sneed is not good on the current PvP map because you do not have... A, it's very hard to take towers with fortification, and B, there are no chests. So this is possibly the worst map that Sneed could have hoped to play into. I think that's it in terms of... There's nothing else that's kind of like massively changed in terms of recommendations, but I've updated a lot of the text and the notes to make sure it reflects the choice, and I've also added PvP notes for every single one of these minis. So hopefully it's really helpful for you guys. And then I'll link all of this in the description below. It's a free resource for you guys to access, and hopefully you guys can share it around with new players so they don't make any poor choices, or at least can make a relatively informed choice when they're coming to make those first purchases. Thank you guys for watching, and I will be around making videos. I've got the podcast coming out today with Big Math. We also have a couple more sort of PvE videos to get done by the end of the week. I want to do some more on the dungeon. And I've got some heroics from my I haven't done anything on my free-to-play account for a while, and I've been slowly recording heroics. I'm going to release a batch of heroics that I've been doing on my free-to-play account as well. And I'll try and work through as many heroics as I can to make sure that those guides are up for you guys to review. I know a lot of you will probably have progressed past where I am on my free-to-play account, but it's finding the time to play it right now. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you soon.